down and fall all to pieces, son. The way that she made me do.
That's singer-songwriter Charley Crockett with his soulful version of Jerry Reed's I Feel For You. Crockett's new album, Lil G.L. Presents Jukebox Charley, is out today. He's on a headlining tour right now and will join Willie Nelson on the road this summer, including on his annual 4th of July picnic. Well, last September, Crockett was named Emerging Act of the Year at the Americana Awards. That's where our Anthony Mason first saw him. Anthony, you have a good time?
Sure did. Good morning. Charley Crockett is a descendant of American folk hero Davy Crockett. Charley's rise in the music industry is something of a folk story as well. We met up with a 38-year-old in New Orleans, where he used to spend 8 hours a day playing on street corners for spare change.
Welcome to hard times and feeling low.
Charley Crockett came up the hard way. For most of his life, the Texas-born singer lived on the road. What do you think of as home?
Bob Marley said, my home is in my head, you know, or wherever I lay my hat.
I'm gonna get up out of Texas. It don't mean I ain't proud of my home.
I am a person that was an itinerant, and all the music I know, I learned that way.
I'm going around this world, going round it pretty girl. I'm a-leaving and I can't say when I'll be back around this way.
Did you choose to live an itinerant life, or did that just happen?
I don't think you really choose to be an itinerant, really. My brother and I got in a lot of trouble when I was younger. He went to jail, and eventually my sister passed away from her, the troubles that she had. And
She had an addiction, yeah?
yeah, well, she struggled with alcohol. And, you know, my brother went to prison for the kind of stuff that he was doing that he pulled me into, which I never blamed him for that, really. A lot of people break the law out of desperation.
His brother served a 7-year sentence for money laundering in a federal conspiracy case.
I couldn't see any way out of it besides just giving myself to the highway.
I'm taking me a midnight run.
That highway took him out of Texas to California, then to New Orleans, where he met Charlie Mills one day in the French Quarter.
I was just looking for somebody to jam. And he came by with like 3 other people, and everybody had guitars. And I was like, hey, you guys want to jam? And he was like, yeah. And then the rest of it, as they say, is history.
And then I asked him for a place to stay.
He's not lying.
The Joker stands in the middle.
Mills taught Crockett the traditional songs that attract a crowd.
So take a look at me, I'm just a clown. Learned all that here. I learned almost all that from Charlie.
Yeah. So how was he back in the day out on the street as a performer?
Oh, I mean, tell the truth. Dynamic. I mean, he'd be singing down there, but you could hear him 2 blocks over.
Yeah. I've paid the cost to hang around.
But Crockett kept moving. What made you go to New York in the first place?
I went to New York City, I think, believing that, like a lot of people, that I was gonna go there and conquer the empire, right?
Yeah.
And we all know that that city is too big.
I can't get your sister to fly.
He played in the subways with a collective of musicians who called themselves the Train Robbers.
I did get a record deal on the subway cars, and I got up in the canopies of New York City.
Sony signed Crockett, but he says they tried to package him. And you weren't going to be packaged?
I wasn't going to be packaged, and I couldn't have handled it even if I wanted to be packaged. I couldn't have handled it.
I think that I got lucky. I see it written on your face.
It feels like something changed about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, I went to jail. I went to jail in Virginia.
For what?
I got caught with a whole bunch of ganja in the trunk of this car I was driving. Between 2014 and 2016, when I got convicted, my sister died. She wasn't 40 years old. I just remember thinking, man, you're gonna be dead, and you're gonna really do some time in prison if you don't figure this out. That's when I really started taking recording seriously.
I need your love, pretty darling.
In the past 7 years, Crockett has released a dozen albums.
There is a man you'll hear about.
He toured more than 200 days in 2018, and his unique blend of country,
Thanks for dropping by, but you don't need to see.
folk,
If my brother refused me at his door.
and the blues
In the night, in the night, in the dark and lonesome night.
began to get noticed. But suddenly it all seemed in jeopardy in early 2019 when Crockett learned he had a congenital heart condition. You had open heart surgery. Were you scared?
Yeah, brother. I was real scared.
They told you if you didn't do it, you could die.
Yeah. They told me if I didn't do it, I would die.
The emergency surgery to replace a heart valve was successful. It's a hell of a curveball, though, just when things were sort of starting to break your way.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a lot of that, you know. I feel like most people, you know, in America feel like they just can't get a break.
How does it feel to have gotten a break?
Did I get one? Is this it?
Does it feel like you have finally?
Yeah, kinda, I guess. A little bit.
Are you suspicious of that in any way?
Yeah, always, you know. I know how to put out a lot of records, and I know how to put on a show, and I'm the best at that I've ever been. That's all I can rely on, you know. That's all I can be sure of. So take a look at me, I'm just a clown. I'm always treating it like the guy playing out of a guitar case on a corner. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally get that. Anthony Mason joining us now. He is such a sweet classic. Reminds me of the old guys from back in the day.
There's something vintage about him, even
Right.
though he's only 38 years old. And I think that comes from coming up on the streets. I mean, he is one of the most compelling live performers I've ever seen. And I think that comes from playing for quarters and trying to get people's attention while they pass you.
The resiliency.
Yes.
Can we also talk about his clothes?
Yeah.
So well dressed.
I know.
They look great. And he asked himself, did I get a break? Yes, an Anthony Mason sit-down profile in the music business, that counts as a break.
He may not look at it that way.
I could say it, Anthony. Thanks a lot.